Hey guys, it's Deni as always. Even legendary games like the new Baldur's Gate are coming to an end, and even if you've traveled all over it, it doesn't mean you'll be able to do it a few more times. Sooner or later, you'll want something new, and it's a good thing there is something new. It's not as masterpiece, but it's still cool, and most importantly, it's all out now. So here you are, all the juiciest new stuff from the last few weeks. Click on the like, click on subscribe if you haven't already, and let's go. Let's start with Palia, the first peaceful MMORPG. Peaceful, which means that the emphasis in the game is not on meat dungeons and sweaty PvP, but relaxation, building, and chill with friends. Of course, there are dungeons here, and run through them will have to if you want to climb for good resources, but in fact, you can do anything here. You can plant a vegetable garden or organize a cooking show with your friends in Discord. The funny thing is, it's made by Blizzard. No, not Blizzard themselves, but the guys who quit Blizzard and decided to start their own studio. And as you can see, it all worked out very well for them, because the game's online is excellent, and that's even without Steam or EGS. The game is so warmly received that the community began to help developers with translations into different languages. It's cool. Not only Baldur's Gate is rich in the genre of party RPG, here just the other day came out another one, less famous, without the bear, but also interesting. Here, however, the emphasis is more on stealth passage, while managing, the team will still have to. In the court, we have an alternative golden age of piracy, and in this world, the islands are called somewhat differently. Dark Caribbean, where the Inquisitors rule. We play for the cursed pirate Afia, and recruit a team of corpses. Naturally, each of the characters is a unique guy with its own history and abilities. Then there's Red Marley. It's our home, it's also our ghost ship, and to put the cherry on the cake, Red Marley can use time management magic. So you can stop time to think, save, and so on. Visually looks like a candy, and in general, the thing is very distinctive. And also, here released a co-op Labyrinthine, where you will race through the maze with friends and try not to throw off the hooves. It won't work. Yes, exactly so. Because here, in addition to you, on this maze runs a lot of different monsters that are hunting you. Your main quest is to solve puzzles, avoid meetings with monsters, find items for passing, and so on. Visually, of course, it looks a bit crooked, but that's how almost all indie horror games look. It's still a solid level, to be honest. Plus, if you want to double observers and you have a VR helmet, you can use it because it is supported. We played it in early access, it was fun, on release it was finished, and the game itself was finalized, so if you want to laugh a couple of evenings with friends, it's perfect. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's a lot of nice words in one sentence. Anyway, yeah, this thing's been released. Basically, we get into the Dead by Daylight analog here, new but with its own gimmicks and hyper bloodthirsty. At least there's not just one killer, there's a whole family here, and we're going 3x4, 4 survivors and 3 killers at once. Basically a whole family of psychos with chainsaws, knives, etc. What's funny? The game itself perfectly conveys the atmosphere of the movie. It is naturally better to play in a company because in solo you fight more. The main quest is standard. Survivors trying to escape as in Friday the 13th or Dead by Daylight, and killers search and kill. So far, this is probably the best alternative to Dead by Daylight. And this is something super unconventional, and not only in terms of visuals as you can see, but also in terms of gameplay. In general, it's a 3D platformer where our main task, in addition to running, is drawing graphite and trying to fight off the police, and the global goal is to take control of the whole city because it is divided into location and we move along gradually, but everything starts with the hub location where you can change and customization character, his vehicle, and so on. In addition to all this, the game itself is as cyberfunk as possible, and music and atmosphere and graphics. It has 98% positive reviews, and it's like not a hilly level at 2,000 assessments. If you like the style of Jet Set Radio, this is basically what you need. hello neighbor is not just a neighbor anymore. Now he is a fucking engineer, and in front of you, the new hello engineer. Here we have a familiar universe to all of us, but remade for the format of scrap mechanics. Plot: an evil neighbor trapped you in the park amusement park. Different. Therefore, your quest together with friends to escape from there to hell. The phrase with friends tells us that you can play this case in co-op with friends up to 4 people. Therefore, you can take with you 3 porters and construct a machine aggregate and all the junk that these workers can find for you. The main brain of the operation must be really smart because there are electrical circuits and smart modules and all sorts of things and whatnot. And most importantly, you can design such a bacchanalia that it will be controlled together. One drives it, the second one turns the steering wheel, the third one pedals, and the fourth one looks at the road. In general, all in your hands and in the hands of your imagination. The thing is cool. Last game is not the only one where you have to dig all sorts of iron with a hammer. Here we have Ship Graveyard Simulator. That said, the second installment. At the heart of it all, a graveyard of ships and one man with a sledgehammer, which is not averse to dismantle the hell out of these boxes and scrap all this stuff. Start, as you realized you can, with a sledgehammer, and then buy more and more new units for a faster disassembly of all this mess. It will come to the point that you will buy a whole fucking crane, healthy construction to load all this stuff, because the hands of iron is not always able to lift. In general, the destruction here is at a high level, and suddenly there are dangers. At least, you can be electrocuted, or you can inhale all sorts of gases and toxins. In short, be careful. If you do not piss games from above and norm to them relate, then for you, there is an unrealistically heartwarming adventure game, Black Skylands. Here you get into a sandbox world, in the style of steampunk, where you will play as Eve, pilot aircraft, which races across the various islands that generate in this huge world, collects resources, beats the face of all sorts of creeps, and so on. In short, the whole Terraria, only with a view from above and not from the side, and with a mountain of its features. In the first fights, not only on the islands, but air too, on the ships on which you race. Secondly, there are kind of flying islands, and what they store there is a huge question. Explore, and thirdly, there's a basic plot and various tests that you can also pass. In general, it's for a long time, but the game is very cool. If you miss the Japanese suddenly and the series Dynasty, well, for example on the game Medieval Dynasty, then here, for you, released Sengoku Dynasty, a game where you build your village in the time of feudal Japan, survive, race around the world back and forth, and all this can be done not only in solo as it was before, but also in co-op, together with friends. And that means in front of you a beautiful co-op survival. You are waiting for a construction site, a mountain of different biomes, and the fifth Unreal Engine. This means a lot of details on the screen at once, so prepare a fire extinguisher in case of problems with your video card. At the same time, a simple construction is not limited to everything. You can build your own full-fledged dynasty and watch your village and its inhabitants grow. In general, canon. Only optimization, of course, leaves much to be desired. I wasn't kidding about the fire extinguisher. The release of this monstrously dynamic meat is like a breath of fresh air in the world of retro shooter games. In general, you could play the game before, it's just version 1.0 and everything is finally finished. And now, on release, we get a whole mountain of beautiful meat, blood, violence, and driving music. You are waiting for a huge variety of weapons, and with alternative fire at each. You have a chainsaw leg, which also improves. What else do you need? Maybe some chips? They are also there, so it improves not only chainsaw, but everything. It's a proper Dumb Eternal, everywhere blood, guts, crazy dynamics, and flawless execution in terms of optimization and the game itself. For 10-12 hours of play, we'll experience all kinds of orgasms. Definitely recommend. There is something similar, old but remade. Here brought a remaster of the second Quake, where shoved RTX global illumination, refraction, and a mountain of various abstruse words, and all for the sake of what would boldly declare that here, this is a remaster, play it. But in practice, he is good. At least because the game brought a little new content. All add-ons are poured into one client. The game works much better and stable holds more FPs. Yes, and starts without a single movement with a tambourine. So, and Dancer ceased to be, in general, a legendary remaster of legendary classics. There are no need for unnecessary words. In front of you, Armored Core 6 from my second most favorite developers. First Larian now, if anything, and these are Fromes, the developers of Elden and Souls. They decided to revive the old Armored Core series and release the 6th installment about dynamically powerful mech meat with good graphics. As you know, I do not tolerate mechs at all, but I love this company very much, so I stand at the crossroads, test this thing or not. Visually it looks good, Souls love elements also added, because the dynamics of these fights, it's like some kind of Sekiro dam, although long range. Mechs are naturally very customizable, and that has a big impact on what they'll be like. Fast, slow, with a mountain of weapons and so on, plus huge bosses. We love that. Anyway, I'm looking at it. So far, I'm leaning towards buying it. What do you think? Write in the comments. Oh, and hit the like and subscribe if you haven't yet. That's all for today. Well, with you was as always Deni, and have a nice day.